African nations can't manage their own money. For as long as many of us can remember, we've been told the same story over and over again. They said we needed Western systems, Western banks, and Western experts to guide us. And for decades, that narrative has stuck, repeated in classrooms, newsrooms, and boardrooms across the world. But what if I told you that something incredible just happened? A silent revolution in the heart of West Africa. One that could shake the very foundation of the global financial system. Yes, while much of the world was distracted by wars, celebrity gossip, and endless political drama, 3 African countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, quietly came together and did the impossible. They didn't just talk about change. They created it. They formed a new alliance, the Sahel Alliance, and went on to establish their own central bank and an investment fund. Something ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, has promised for more than 30 years but still hasn't delivered. Let that sink in. 3 nations, often described in the media as fragile or poor, did what decades of summits, meetings, and reports couldn't achieve. The big question: why has Africa been so rich, yet so poor? Before we continue, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your support means everything. Let's continue. Africa sits on $45 trillion worth of natural resources: gold, uranium, lithium, oil, you name it. Yet, more than 40% of its people live in poverty. Ever wonder why? Ever ask yourself how foreign corporations make billions from African gold, while the very miners and farmers in those lands struggle to pay their children's school fees? It all comes down to control. Control of the money, the banking system, and the economic direction of African countries. For decades, that control was in the hands of others, not Africans. And for the first time in modern history, that control is shifting. The Sahel states said no more. When these 3 nations began experiencing political transitions between 2022 and 2023, the West and ECOWAS responded with sanctions. Their message was clear: obey or suffer. But instead of bending, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso did something unexpected. They looked inward. They asked themselves, what if we no longer need their system? What followed was an economic earthquake. Finance ministers from the Sahel states met and built something real. Not another endless committee. They established a stabilization fund to protect against economic shocks, an investment bank to fund real development projects, and the foundation of a complete monetary union. No big announcements. No media campaigns, just action. Meanwhile, ECOWAS has postponed its eco-currency 3 times, from 2015 to 2020, and now to 2027. The Sahel Alliance didn't wait. They acted. Why is this such a big deal? Let me tell you a little secret. The current system was never designed for ordinary Africans to succeed. Take Mali, for instance. Farmers there grow enough food to feed hundreds of families. But many can't afford basic health care or school fees. Why? Because the interest rates they pay on loans can be as high as 45%. Numbers that would be illegal in most Western countries. Even worse, the price of their crops is set in trading rooms in London, not in the villages where the crops are actually grown. And the money they use, the CFA franc, is controlled by the French Treasury. So imagine a system where loans come from a local bank that understands local farming conditions. Imagine investment decisions about a road or a bridge being made by people who actually use those roads and bridges. That's what the Sahel Alliance just created. A history of unfair loans. Let's break it down further. When African countries go to the World Bank or the IMF for loans, they often face extremely high interest rates, sometimes 10 times higher than what Western countries pay. Why? Because these banks don't just give you money. They come with conditions. Let's say a country wants to build local industries to stop depending on imports. Instead of supporting that, the bank may say, "We'll give you the money, but you must hire our foreign contractors. We'll send you experts from our country. You must offer mineral rights as collateral." So what happens? Foreign companies come, do the job, take their profit, and the loan money goes right back to the lender's country. Meanwhile, the African country is left with a loan to repay, a half-completed project, lost mineral resources, and very few local jobs created, all in exchange for pieces of paper money, backed by nothing, while we gave up billions of years of natural wealth. A real alternative, resource-backed finance. The new Sahel banking system is structured on three powerful ideas. Resource-backed currency. Unlike the CFA franc pegged to the euro, their new currency will be backed by gold reserves from Mali and Burkina Faso. That means it holds real value. Value controlled by Africans, not foreign treasuries. Self-directed investments. The new investment bank won't be influenced by IMF or World Bank conditions. Instead, it will fund locally needed projects, like infrastructure, agriculture, and healthcare. Regional solidarity. The alliance creates a financial ecosystem where profits stay within, circulating among member nations rather than leaking out to the West. Then came Togo, and the game changed. Just when things couldn't get more interesting, Togo dropped a bombshell. Togo, a long-time Western ally and an active member of ECOWAS, announced it was joining the Sahel alliance. This is massive. Why? Because the Sahel states, up until now, were landlocked. They depended on neighboring countries for access to international trade through ports. But Togo has one of the deepest and most advanced ports in West Africa, capable of handling the largest ships in the world. That's like someone handing you the perfect key to a locked door. Now the Sahel states can export their goods directly, avoid expensive foreign shipping routes, boost internal trade, and retain customs revenue and logistics control. Togo, in return, gains access to Mali's gold, Niger's uranium, and Burkina Faso's agricultural wealth. More importantly, it positions Togo to become the Singapore of West Africa, a trade hub for over 80 million people. What most people are missing, this isn't just about banks or currencies. It's about Africans taking back control of their story, deciding their own economic path, instead of following blueprints written in Paris, Brussels, or Washington. For years, African leaders have whispered that organizations like ECOWAS and even the African Union are more aligned with Western interests than with those of ordinary Africans. And when the Sahel states acted independently, those organizations threatened them with sanctions, instead of celebrating innovation and progress. The big lesson: Africa is changing. Whether CNN talks about it or not, Africa is changing. It's no longer about waiting for approval from the IMF or World Bank. It's about building our own systems, based on our own realities. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have started something new, something bold. And with Togo's support, the Sahel Alliance now has both the resources and the access it needs to thrive. This isn't the end of the journey. It's just the beginning. Other nations are watching, and more will join. Because for the first time in a long time, Africa isn't just participating in the global economy. We're beginning to redefine it. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with your thoughts.